Hey, it's David. And welcome back to another episode of the Reddit Story podcast.
Ex-husband left me for his younger work wife while I was pregnant. Now she lost their baby and is harassing me while he tried to efforts himself on me. I'll fix the grammar later, fake names and throwaway. So my 36F, ex-husband Tom, 35M, left me for his work wife Tammy, 25F, 2 years ago. I never liked her even before I found out about their relationship. The first time I met her at a work event, she told me while I was heavily pregnant, my youngest, better up your wife game or I might steal him off you. Well, 3 months later she did. This woman literally came with him to help pack the day he moved out and tried to have a one-on-one conversation on how she wanted our relationship going forward because she was going to be in my life. Then said as a joke, told you I'd steal him away. Not gonna lie, I'm thankful she did, because when my ex made a comment about her being 23 and her brain not being fully developed, I got the ick so bad it turned my heartbreak into relief. I got everything in the divorce because I got him in his affair fog and gave 50-50 custody for our kids' sake. I'm civil for the sake of my kids so we can both attend events without drama, but other than that I couldn't honestly care less about them. Around June, Tammy came instead of Tom for pick and practically skipped towards me to show off her engagement ring, saying she wanted me as a bridesmaid along with my daughters for something I didn't catch because I was in a rush to get our cat to the vet. She got upset because I just said him her whole conversation per Tom's texts a few hours later. Same happened again in September when she told me she was pregnant, which again my zero fucks given upset her. In December when she told me the second I opened the car door Tom's finally getting a son, to which I sarcastically replied, I'm sure Lord Tom's excited for an heir to take over his lands and titles, which caused drama too because Tom's family found it hilarious when Tammy was bad-mouthing me. December was the last time I saw her till today at drop-offs with Tom. As they approached me I noticed Tammy didn't look pregnant anymore. Tammy tearfully said, we lost the baby. I didn't answer, just told Tom our second daughter has a birthday party tomorrow at 3 and the oldest has gymnastics at 5. Tammy literally screamed at me I was a heartless bitch and bitter, then grabbed the girls' bags walking away. Tom said I could show a little humanity towards Tammy, and regardless of my feelings, she is my kid's stepmother. I told Tom I don't care about what he's going through because outside our kids I don't care about them and I don't owe Tammy anything, especially pity. He called me an asshole, along with other things, and left. Usually this wouldn't bother me, but my ex-in-laws who I have a good relationship have told me I should have shown Tammy some empathy and at the very least pretended to care for the sake of the kids. Comments where Op has replied. Imposter Syndrome 412. So you're supposed to show empathy to someone who ruined your marriage and goes out of their way to get a reaction out of you? No. NTA. Oop. She said she wanted to friends and tells people like my in-laws that I can't put the past behind me for the sake of the kids, even called me a pick-me. Beneficial_syrup_869. He's no longer your problem, he's hers until she becomes too old for him. Enjoy your life, that's the best revenge. Oop. I'm enjoying my life, honestly. Single life is so underrated. I adopted 2 senior cats last week because I found out at my local book club our shelter has an end-of-life event every month so you can give a senior cat a loving home before the end. I think when my kids are grown I'm gonna be the local cat lady everyone thinks is a witch. Illuminate 90. NTA, you should have filed for more custody. He isn't mentally well. She doesn't deserve shit. Better person than me, cause when she said that at the party/first meeting, I'd have broke her nose if I was the same sex. You owe neither of them anything aside from the little human interaction needed to make sure the kids are taken care of. He is a piece of shit and she a terrible human who I'm sure I'm gonna get flack for this bit, but got what she had coming. Karma. You are cordial and don't deny their father access to them 50-50. I'm gonna take on good faith you don't badmouth him in your home when he isn't there, but the kids are. Interactions out of sight and earshot of the kids that are not sugar, rainbows and unicorns are not on you to make sure they are. She is an adulterer, home wrecker, self-centered narcissist, who has been trying to rub this in your face and use your kids' emotions and well-being as a shield for herself from the consequences. Fuck her. Oop. No, I'd never badmouth him to the kids ever, don't get me wrong. At the start of everything I did shit talk them both with my family and friends, but now couldn't care less about them. Our oldest is 13, then we have a 12,7 and 2-year-old, so I'm gonna let them form their own opinions as they grow older about them. I will say Tammy is a good stepmom, to which I'm glad. Frog say so. I still wouldn't trust Tammy not to try to poison them against you, out of spite. Oop. My girls are extremely smart and my oldest told her father I've never said a bad word about him to them, so she wouldn't stand for it either, nor would she tell them any information about me. Both Tom and Tammy have asked multiple questions about me in the past to the kids and they tried to convince them I was a bad person during the bridesmaid situation my oldest told me and her grandmother, ex-Mill. I told my ex I'd take him back to court if it ever happened again and his family said they'd back me. Update 1, February 3, 2024. So I texted Tom today, due to Tammy's mental state I prefer if he or his mom would do all the picks up from now on, and if Tammy's mental health gets any worse I want the girls full time for a couple of weeks till it's a healthier environment for the kids. Tom tried to call me but I texted him I prefer texts and he said wanted to have a heart to heart. Yeah, not gonna happen. I asked did it involve the girls, but he said yes, but it's also about all of us going forward and the relationship he wishes for us to have. Basically he wanted family therapy with himself, me, Tammy and the kids. I said if he thinks the kids need to see a therapist I would be happy to find one we both can agree on, but again he just kept bringing it back to us, so after a few hours knowing it was going nowhere I just left him on read. I called my ex-in-laws, told them the situation and how I don't want to be involved with anything Tammy and Tom unless my kids are involved. I reminded them I've expressed multiple times I don't care and I don't want anything more than a civil co-parent relationship. I told them even though I value my friendship with the family, ex-in-laws, I will go low contact if it happens again. Mill apologized saying she was very emotional because at the end of the day Tom is her son and he was heartbroken, plus the baby was her grandchild, which I completely understand and I forgive her. Now here where it gets weird, Tammy showed up to my house. Now I've watched enough true crime to know not to open the door and I talked/recorded her by the doorbell cam. She was crying saying she was sorry and she just wanted to be my friend. Then she said I need to forgive her because she lost her baby as karma for what she did to me. She was saying other stuff but I couldn't understand her. I rang the police, then my brother and Tom. She didn't get arrested or anything, but Tom talked to my brother, said he was taking her home and agreed it's best if I have them full time for now. My girls are at home safe. My brother will be staying with me for the foreseeable future. I'll be seeing a lawyer first time Monday about full custody and a restraining order because I've a sinking feeling it's gonna get worse. Before it gets brought up I just kept telling Tammy leave my property because I don't want to hear it. I don't know why I was brought into this because I was looking forward to my chill weekend. I'd like to also say for the people in my last post calling me jealousy/bitter, I've nothing to be jealous of. Someone who cheats on you isn't a prize, he is Tammy's problem now, and for those of you saying I don't care about my ex's life means I'm not over him because I don't want to be friends with him or Tammy. Your ex moved on. When they say leave them alone they're not playing hard to get, they really don't want to talk to you. Comments where Op has replied. Duh, true, CRE. I hope it gets better for you. But as you said and I agree with you, it's going to get worse. I don't understand what it is that people want you to do. He cheated. Left and both of you moved on. Why should you care about his life? If it doesn't involve your children, it doesn't involve you. Your happiness trumps whatever he got going on in his life. Oop. They want me to be the bitter evil ex-wife to justify themselves even though I feel nothing towards either of them, like I'd have the same reaction if they told me that day they won the lottery. I've gotten to a place I'm happy with my life and love it. Maybe they think that since I've not gone on a date since the divorce I'm still not moved on, but I've not dated anyone because I don't want to. Single life is awesome, why ruin it? Update 2, February 5, 2024. I won't be updating till all the legal issues are over with and my own mental health is in a better place, so it could take anything up to 3 to 6 months. I spoke to a lawyer today. I'm obviously not going to go into details, but with all the evidence and witnesses on my side I've a good shot at getting full custody, but it's only day 1 and nothing has started yet. Tom sexually assaulted me. It didn't go far thanks to my brother, but it's left me very shaken. I agreed to let Tom come over to visit the kids whenever he wanted, so when he came over yesterday evening and went into the garden with the kids I went for a shower. Coming out of the bathroom he cornered me about wanting to talk. I told him it wasn't the time and told him either go out to the girls or leave. He started saying he made a mistake, Tammy was a nut job and he wanted to come home to us. I told him get the fuck out of my house and there is no us, so he started saying stuff I physically can't type without breaking down, then tried to force a makeout session, to put it politely. Thankfully my brother heard and came running. Unfortunately the kids heard everything when my brother and Tom started fighting. I was in complete shock at the time to try to do anything to help the situation. Even when Tom was being taken away I was too scared to move and couldn't confront my crying children. Not my proudest moment. Remember I said before I adopted older cats? Well, I put cameras through common areas in my home to watch them while I'm at work. One of those areas is the hall between my room and the bathroom. I don't know what to do with Tom going forward, but I know I can't face him ever again, even with supervision from my father or brother who both work in law enforcement. Tammy sent hundreds of messages to me and my oldest too, but I can't block her by my lawyer's request. My ex-in-laws have reached out and told me they'll help me with whatever way I need. His sisters have disowned him, but this is still all very new, they might change their mind. I plan on moving after everything gets sorted, so I won't ever cross Tammy's path. Thank you all for your love and support. Hopefully I can give you all a positive update in the future. And to the young men sending messages asking for nudes or sending me pictures of your privates, thanks for the laugh, but I'm done with dick. Comments where Op has replied. Individual_you_6586. Blimey. You poor thing. I am so sorry for you and very sad that you had to endure this. I hope the children didn't see their dad violating their mother. Crying face. Best of luck in the future. Oop. They didn't see he told them he went in for drinks, but due to me screaming they came in and saw my brother started bashing their dad off stuff and calling him a rapist along with other things. Then Tom tried to fight my brother to get away. Just to be clear, my ex didn't get as far as to rape me. Individual_you_6586. Still, it's scary for kids. I can't see why your ex would think this was appropriate when he came over to be with the children. Oop. I don't know going though his and Tammy heads to be this focused on me when they should be seeking comfort in each other, but Tom did say I never lost any of his kids when it was happening. Like if I'm being honest, he was saying some unhinged creepy things like I've known him since I was 14. It was like I was looking at Tom, but at the same time it wasn't him, if that makes sense. Screaming Harpy. Christ on a bike. I thought police involvement would be because of Tammy, not Tom. I thought Tom would try to get you back when he realized how badly screwed up by leaving you for Tammy, but sexual assault is not the way to make a woman think. Hell yes, let's go, you can come home at once? I'm so glad you had your brother there to rescue you. What the feck is he on that he thought to himself, how do I woo my ex-wife back? I know I'll force myself upon her, that'll make her want me back. Really Tom? Fecking really? Please don't beat yourself up for freezing, as it's a fairly common reaction to assault. I'm so sorry this happened to you, please tell me your pressing charges? I would also suggest counseling for you and your girls when you're ready, as this is going to stay with all of you. Again, I'm so sorry he did this to you. Oop. Yeah, I'm gonna press charges and my kids will get counseling because my oldest is blaming herself and won't leave my side. Now on to the next story. Story 2. One of my employees had to take 2 days off of work because his father died. A week later, his dad walks into the store. I'm a manager at a shop that's 420 friendly for employees. As long as it doesn't affect your work, we're all a big stoner family. We know who's capable of working high, and who isn't. One of my employees is becoming a bit of a chronic liar. He's a bit of a performer, always doing impressions, and generally being a pretty funny guy, but he's a bit of a slacker. I'll call him Scooby. One day, Scooby comes in, uncharacteristically quiet, just looking sad and depressed. He was working slower than usual, and not really responding to anybody, in the middle of an otherwise busy kitchen. So he gets pulled outside, and tells the owner of the store that his dad just died, and he was reeling from it. He told him not to tell anybody, because he's not the kind of person to spread his emotional baggage around. The owner and I gave him a hug, told him to go home, and take as long as he needs. He comes back a couple of days later, and everything seems alright. A few days later, a man walks into the store, and asks to see Scooby. I was wondering if I could see Scooby. That's my son. You're his dad. Yeah, we look alike, don't we? He did. They looked exactly alike. So now we're faced with the situation of this kid being a little liar. I pulled my boss, the owner, aside, and asked him what to do. He told me that we're extremely short-handed right now, and letting him go would be counterproductive, because we're in the middle of training 3 people, and letting him go would force the more capable people to work 50+ hours a week. There's basically 2 to 3 of us, plus the owners. He told me not to say anything to Scooby, and that he and his wife would take care of it. A few weeks have passed now, and I no longer believe a word out of this kid's mouth. Apparently the owners talked to him about his lying, but since then, it hasn't really stopped. He's taken off of work from vomiting all the time. At one point, he took 3 Fridays and 2 Saturdays off in a row, because of all the vomiting, and various digestion issues. He said he went to the doctor, and his doctor told him he was allergic to eggs, so he stopped eating eggs, and then he was okay. Meanwhile, I'll occasionally catch him eating a pre-packaged egg sandwich we bring for the employees for their lunch breaks. One time, he came in all sad and depressed again, because his girlfriend broke up with him, and his productivity slowed down to a crawl. We told him to keep his personal drama at the door, and sent him home. That night, I see he and his girlfriend publicly snuggling all over my Facebook feed. I don't know what to do. I can't look this fucking kid in the eye anymore, and my boss won't fire him. Do I just deal with it, and keep letting this little shit look at me in my face and lie to me every time he wants to take off of work? Comments where Op has replied. Oop on talking to the owners about the matter. That's the thing, they already know about it all. It's impossible to lie to me, especially if I've already caught you in a lie. Then, when you talk to me, my default position is that you're lying, and I'll go back in and logically catch people in lies. The kid's a terrible liar already, and when he talks to me, he's talking to the goddamn gatekeeper of truth. Not to toot my own horn or anything, lol. But the only way it's affecting my work, is that I would occasionally have to cover for him. But I told them that if this continues, they would have to cover for him, because I'm tired of working 6-day weeks, and having to come in at 3 a.m. on my day off to open the store because this dude's family are dropping like flies. I just don't know what to do as his boss. Oop when asked if there is an environment of fear and disapproval for asking for time off. Yes. That's what I figured the crux of the issue was at first, but he needs to grow balls, and ask for the time off if he really needs it. Unfortunately, he's asking for time off because he just doesn't want to work, and that's what seriously pisses me off about all of this. Just to rant a bit, I invited that fucking kid into my house, to smoke some of my weed, telling him how sorry I was for his loss. I genuinely empathized with him, and then his dad fucking walks into the store. And he kept the lie up. He told everybody a different story. He told the bosses and I that that wasn't actually his father, but his uncle, who he calls his father sometimes. It was bullshit, and he admits it by shutting up when called out on it, followed by nothing at all. We call him out, and he falls silent. Then he lies again the next day, and the same shit happens. We embarrass him all the time about his constant lying, and I just don't understand why he keeps doing it. It must be some sort of psychological issue. Oop when asked if the kid can just replaced. We're trying our best to train these new kids, but there's so little time. We've resorted to having people come in at 3 a.m. to dress donuts in a closed store for 3 hours until it opens, but it's really hard finding people with an availability of 3 a.m. to whenever the fuck. Update 1, February 11, 2015. So it's been about 2 months since I last posted about this incident. A lot of really crazy things have happened, so I'll jump right in. After everything happened with the last post, everybody simply put the dead dad incident in the back of their minds. They were pissed for a while, but they eventually let it go. I was the last one to let it go, but I eventually did. In retrospect, I shouldn't have, because he never once owned up to the lie. He just acted like none of it ever happened. He tried to come up with lies to get out of working holiday shifts he was scheduled for, Christmas, New Year's, but nobody believed him, and he was told that if he didn't show up to these shifts, that he'd be fired. He showed up to the Christmas shift, but he overslept through the New Year's shift. Nobody cared, because we ended up not needing him for the shift anyway, and one of the new guys ended up covering for him on call. Everybody was pissed at him again, and he's been on thin ice ever since. Then shit hit the fan in the past few days. A couple of days ago, his apparently psycho girlfriend caught him hanging out in a car with one of our mutual coworkers. She had an absolute breakdown, and started pounding on her window. Scooby hops out of the car to calm her down, and the coworker, Sky, drives off. The psycho girlfriend gets in her car, and keeps trying to cut Sky off in traffic, at least that's the story I heard from my boss. She eventually lets up, Sky manages to get home safe, and texted Scooby basically cussing him out. Later that night, I make a quick stop by the store owner's house, to pick something up for the store, and they tell me that Scooby called them and told them that he wouldn't be able to work for the next few days, because he got into a big fight with his girlfriend, and she slashed his tires. The next morning, I show up for my shift, and Scooby calls the store. His speech is all slow, mumbled, and he's slurring his words. I immediately think he's strung out on something. He brags about doing acid, and other hardish drugs. He tells me this story about how, the night before, after his girlfriend slashed his tires, she calmed down, and they were walking around where they live, in some warehouse district somewhere, apparently, looking for a store to grab money so they can call a tow truck to come get his car. While walking, he and his girlfriend got mugged. He's fine, but they beat her up pretty badly, and took all their money. Because of this, he wouldn't be able to work for the next few days, which is Valentine's Day, our busiest day of the year by far. Nobody even wanted to speak to him at that point. So it all came down to this morning. The owner comes in, and I asked her if anyone has spoken to Scooby. Basically, she pulled a string, and his entire wall of lies came crumbling down. I can't make this shit up. So yesterday afternoon, Scooby fucking calls the store, with a disguised voice, and asks for one of our coworkers, Ashley, who you can read all about here. We have a really dysfunctional family. He asks for her, and tells her to meet him out the back of the store with his paycheck that was left for him at the cash register. He did this so that he could avoid having to talk to the owner. Well, she caught wind of it, and showed up out back of the store with his paycheck, but he noticed, and literally ran away. He shows up about a half an hour later, with fresh scratches on his neck. Because apparently when you get mugged by a group of guys, they scratch your neck. She confronted him about all of it, told him that she doesn't believe a word he ever says, and that she loves him, and wishes he'd stop making terrible decisions. By the end of the conversation, he basically admitted to all of the lies, and he was finally fired. And thus, is the tale of Scooby, the wandering liar. Final comments from Oop. Oop on Scooby. He's the kind of liar where he's so introspective, that he thinks his outlandish lies are going to fool anybody. It baffled me. I never knew how this dude was ever getting through his life, but I found out a few things over the course of him working there, that proved that he was just a pillar of bad decisions. That was Scooby's trademark. He got arrested a month ago, and was put in jail, because he fessed up to some shoplifting that his girlfriend did. He was already on probation from some other shit, but he got off on a legal technicality, and got off light. But being in jail for 2 days didn't do anything to help Scooby get his shit together. His parents kicked him out of his house, and he's been floating between his girlfriend's house, and his ex-girlfriend's house when he and his current girlfriend are fighting. I know, this shit sounds like a bad soap opera, and none of us understands why he's letting himself be put into this situation. He needs his ass kicked by someone who cares about him, because he's going down a really bad road. Scooby running from the owner. Apparently, he saw her before she got back there, ran behind the wall, ran around the corner to his car before she came through the back door. She saw him fly out of the parking lot in his non-tire slashed car that he spent hours using as an excuse to get out of work. Oop. When asked why a donut shop is busy on Valentine's Day. Who knows? It just happened that way for the past 2 years the shop has been opened. People like to be creative with their Valentine's Day gifts, so they get donuts instead of flowers and chocolates.